All right, well, here's something to think about in the housing world. In the past 24 hours, homebuilder D.R. Horton announced it paid its top two executives $4 million in bonuses for the fiscal year just ended. Now, D.R. Horton did post its first profit in that year since 2006. So, is this a reward for a job well done or business as usual? And greed. Here to discuss, Marc Lewis, CEO of the Leadership Capital Group, and also joining us, Jonathan Macy, Yale Law School corporate law professor. Good to have both of you with us. We appreciate it. Jonathan, greed or capitalism at its best?
Well, it seems to me that this looks a little bit like on the greed side of the scale in light of the fact that the home building industry is not exactly expanding, so the board of directors' justification for this is being necessary to keep these executives out of this, really vibrant market for new home builders and expanding firms seems to me a little bit specious, frankly. And this is the bonus this year. They got a very, very large raise last year. I don't see the story that suggests these people are breaking the mold and doing something that's protecting the shareholders of this firm or bringing shareholders the value that would justify these kinds of increases. I'd love to hear that story.
Now, interesting, Mark, they did not try to give that story. In the proxy, the company simply gave this as the reason for the $4 million in bonuses. Quote, these executives ranked near the bottom of their peer group average. This is concerning, right? Basically, they're saying we're paying them more because other people in the industry made more and we want to bring them up to the average. We're not paying them more because they were so good.
Yeah, Aaron, it's a great question, but there are really two sides of the coin. This is really about executive retention, which gives shareholders a chance for a big payout and a good payout in the future versus pay for performance. What first looks like a ridiculously high bonus, that was really the board's balancing act, figuring out which of those two sides of the coin to look at.
These guys, though, one of them's name is Donald Horton. I would imagine he was involved in being the chairman of the company when the financial crisis happened and they overbuilt and had all kinds of problems with the company, too, right?
Yeah, what looks like board oversight on the surface is really a much more complicated issue. When I was in commercial real estate with Trammell Crow, the rule of thumb was that you must pay for performance. So even though it's not politically very savory to be talking about these kind of big numbers when many people are struggling, it's a reality that if you don't pay for your talent, you won't be able to retain your talent.
Jonathan, do you think it's fair to say that they couldn't find someone else to run it, or should those who are skeptical and see the name Horton on a guy being paid $2 million for D.R. Horton be justified in their skepticism?
Well, the reality is that board capture is a significant problem, particularly in firms with this particular setup. And the idea that Mr. Horton is going to go to work for a competitive firm, I think, is not particularly plausible. The retention argument, it seems to me, is one that can be made in 100% of cases, but it's true in less than 100% of cases, and I'm somewhat skeptical about its validity in this particular situation in light of the fact that this is not an expanding market, it's a contracting market, and there are plenty of very able people around looking for jobs even at this level.
Mark, do you think that that's not true, that there aren't other qualified people out there that could do this job for less?
Yes, and first of all, Don Horton as the founder is really important, but most important is Don Tomnitz, or DT as he goes by, and he was paid. He was he's the CEO, and he was one of the lesser paid executives in the industry until he recently had his salary raised. So I do think keeping someone like DT, Don Tomnitz, around could be very important for the company.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thanks very much. We appreciate it. And viewers, let us know what you think about this one. It's an interesting one. By the way, D.R. Horton, as we said, did post a profit in the most recent year, and they build in 26 states across the United States, one of the biggest home builders in the nation.